Hey, you caught me making half of a paper airplane right here, waiting for us to go live this morning. Oh, this afternoon. Is this afternoon? I believe that it is. It's not 3 in the morning, surely. I want to find out today if you would like to come on down and find out if your price is right for your business. My name is Lesle Spoor. This is Live with Lesle on Facebook, and we are going to talk today about whether or not you're pricing your services correctly in order to maximize the profitability of your business. This is a question I get at least 3 or 4 times a week. How much should I charge for my services? And honestly, I cannot tell you how much to charge because that's tantamount to price fixing. So it's illegal for me to say you should charge this much. But what I can do is tell you some things to consider to help you decide how much you should charge for your particular business. So the first thing I want you to ask yourself today is, are you trying to create, or have you created a job for yourself, or are you trying to create a company? Now, both of those are honorable goals and objectives. If you want to make a job for yourself where you're the only person working in the company and you're taking all of the revenue coming in as salary, and you have no intent to hire anybody, you just want to do a service for the community, that's perfectly fine. That's going to dictate a different price point possibly than it would if you decide that you want to create a company, that you're going to eventually have people working for you and a bigger, more, I don't want to say, more structured professional foundation. So let me give you a story here. I love to tell stories when we do this. When I first started my lifestyle management company, Executive Errands, that's my other company, I know for a fact that I have a caregiver personality and I will give away everything for free. It's one of my best qualities and worst faults because it does not help a business owner to give away all their services for free. So what I did is when I knew I wanted to create a company, so I knew eventually I would have employees, and therefore the minute I got my first client, I hired somebody to do the work. And I did that because then I had a separation between what we charge the client and the person who has to be paid. That separation helped prevent me from giving away all the services. I had to pay the person doing the work. Therefore, it created a better structure. Now, that's another thing you have to take into consideration here, and we're going to talk about employees in a minute, but the next thing I want you to look at is, well, first of all, you want to know whether I'm trying to create a job, I'm just going to be myself in the company, or whether someday I'm going to have employees. Second of all, where do you see your company in 5 years? You know, when you're a brand new startup and you're all excited and enthusiastic and ready to take on the world, you don't really think beyond the next week worth of work. So you want to think about, visualize, what is your business going to look like in 5 years? Will it still be you? Will you have people working for you? How many clients do you expect to have? What kind of services do you plan to offer? All kinds of things you want to think about if you could visualize your perfect scenario for a year from now, for 5 years from now, okay? So that's number 2. Number 3 is, we mentioned a couple times about, do you plan to hire employees? This is a critical determination to make, and I know that in the beginning, you may not want to give much thought to this. All you want to do is get out there, do some work, make some money, get some money coming into the business. That's all you really care about. But knowing whether or not you intend to ever hire anybody to help you helps you determine how much to charge your clients, because you have to think about, am I going to have to pay somebody else to help me? And if I have to pay them, then I need to charge enough to cover their salary, plus the insurance and taxes for that person, plus still make profit for myself. So if you were originally thinking you were going to charge $25 or $35 an hour, and then you're going to end up hiring somebody at $15 an hour, and then burden that with insurance and overhead to be $17 or $18 an hour, you can see that your $25 or $35 does not go very far because you have all the other expenses with the business. So taking that into consideration now before you have any clients will help you set your price point for going forward. And then the last thing I want to talk to you about just today is Who is your ideal client? Now we talk about this, or I talk about this like regularly. I write about it, I talk about it, I blog about it, I counsel people on the phone about it. Knowing who your ideal client is helps you determine what your price point is going to be. For example, if you are focused on fixed income seniors and you really want to help that market, then you can't charge as high of a rate as you might be able to charge if you were working in young urban professionals who have to commute to work, who are making 6 and 7 figures a year salary. So you would have to make up in volume with the fixed income seniors versus you could have fewer better clients in the other market and still probably end up in the same place financially. So you have to know, who do you want to sell to? Who do you want to buy your services, in order to know what kind of price point you're going to do. And while we're on that topic, I want to caution you, so many times people call me and I ask that question and they say, well, I want to do everybody. You can't do everybody. You cannot, I hate to say get away with, but it's difficult to try to serve two completely different markets and charge two different price points for the same services. When you do that, you're going to upset the higher end people, because they're going to say, why am I paying twice or 3 times as much for the same thing that somebody else is getting for less? It doesn't fly. So you want to really have a clear understanding of who you're going to sell to. This will serve you well over and over again in your business, because it's going to determine how you spend your marketing dollars, how you do your advertising, where you spend your time doing presentations, how you write your newsletters. Is going to dictate a lot about your business and how you go about marketing it. So you need to clearly understand who your ideal client is, who your target market is, and how you're going to reach them. Then and only then can you decide how much to charge for your services. Now, one of the good ways to tell if you're in the right ballpark or not is to do some research and find out what other people in your area are charging for similar types of services. That will at least tell you where you at. Are you high? Are you low? Are you right on point? Where are you? Now, once you find out where your competitors are selling, don't think that you have to sell at the same place or less. It's a real common misperception that you need to be less than other people in order to get business. That's not true. When I started my other company, I initially and intentionally set my price higher than anybody else here who was doing similar services. And I did that on purpose because I wanted to be perceived as a higher quality business even before I had clients. My corporate background and nature is such that I knew where I was going with the business. I knew how I was going to lay it out, and I wanted that perception, and that worked. It worked well for us, and we've never suffered about getting clients because our price point was higher. Now we're probably average since the industry has changed over the last 13 years, but you just need to know what you want to do and why you're doing it, and then have confidence in what you plan to sell. And that's another aspect of making sure your price is right, is what are you comfortable selling? Too many times people will tie their self-worth to how much they're charging, and if they don't feel like they're worthy of $55 or $25 or $100 an hour, if they don't feel like they're worthy of that, they can't sell it. And if you let any sense of apology or desperation come through in your selling, you won't be able to sell. So part of the consideration for determining what your price point is going to be has to be what you feel confident in. And I'll share another quick story with you. We started out at a certain level, and we originally started the other business with a price point of X, and about, I want to say, 6 or 7 years in, we decided that we needed to raise our rates. And I hated to do it, but even our clients were telling us we weren't charging enough for what we were doing, because the business had evolved, that we had taken on broader and broader scopes of responsibility. So I knew I needed to raise the pricing. It took me a full year, to get the confidence up to be able to sell at the higher rate. And the first client, I remember clearly in my mind, the first client I pitched to with the new rate, and then saying without batting an eye, yep, okay, I'll sign up now. That made me realize that that was a good number for what we were doing, and ever since it's not been a problem. So having confidence and faith in what your price point is once you finally decide how to set it will determine how successful you are at selling the business, at marketing and selling the business. So let's recap what we're saying. In order to get a good price point for what you're going to do, you want to know for sure, are you trying to create a job or a company? And again, understanding this has to do with how much overhead you're going to end up with, how you insure yourself, whether you hire people to help you. All kinds of factors come in, whether you're going to be, as my boyfriend calls it, a one bucket shop, or if you're going to build actually a company with multiple people involved. You want to know exactly what your company is going to look like, or ideally look like, in 5 years from now. Visualize it, see it, imagine it, and feel how that's going to feel so that you know where you're going with what you're trying to do, because that again is going to dictate how much you need to be charging. Do you plan to hire employees? Do you plan to have help? Are you going to need a personal assistant? Will you need a bookkeeper? Will you need an attorney? Will you need support staff? How many people do you expect to need? Right from the beginning, I figured in a perfect world, I would have 4.5 to 5 employees. That was my goal. We're at 3. We really need 4, but some parts of the year we don't need 4, so we're just kind of toughing it out with 3. So sometimes it takes a while to get to what you visualize, but it doesn't matter. At least I knew up front I was going to have employees, and I set my price points accordingly. And then always, this is so important, who is your target market? Who is your ideal client? Where do they live? What are their spending habits? How much do they make? What kind of what kind of needs do they have for your services? All these things are factors that you need to take into account. So if you liked what you heard today, you can visit our website. It's up here. That will tell, or I think that's my email address, isn't that? No, it's my website. Okay. I don't know where anything is. Every week we go through this. I need to draw it on a chalkboard somewhere. Here's our website. You can visit that, and there's all kinds of education and training out there on the website, as well as forms and documents and things that we share from what we've developed over the years in business. You can also visit, and I would beg you to visit, our YouTube channel. If you search my name, Lesle Spoor, and YouTube, it comes right up, and there's over 50 videos out there of help just like this. If you subscribe to that channel, you'll get notified when we put new content out there. Every week we're doing content, and we're excited to share with you how to better build your business. So if you have any questions, if you need help, I'm down here, Jeff, over here. On this side, if you need help determining who your ideal client is, trying to visualize your company, trying to figure out what the best price point is, who to market to and who to sell to, give me a call. We can set up a consulting appointment. I would love to try to help you better yourself and get your business off the ground. And until next week, my name is Lesle Spoor. This is Live with Lesle, and we're here to make your business better. Are we off?